Imagine working at the very heart of the FBI's counterintelligence division, the unit tasked with catching spies, all while secretly being the most damaging spy in American history. That's the story of Robert Hanssen, a quiet family man, a devout churchgoer, and at the same time, the traitor who sold out America's deepest secrets for over 2 decades. Today, we're diving into how he pulled it off, how he nearly got away with it forever, and how one careless mistake finally exposed him. It's a cold February evening in 2001. A man in his late 50s strolls through a suburban park near Washington, D.C. Nothing about him stands out. He moves slowly, calmly, as if on a casual walk. He pauses at a wooden bridge, looks over his shoulder, then kneels down to tuck a small plastic bag beneath the structure. To him, this is routine. A spy drop he's done many times before, but what he doesn't know is that this time, the FBI is everywhere, hidden in the trees. Agents hold their breath, waiting. Moments later, they swarm. The man doesn't run, he doesn't fight. He simply mutters, "What took you so long?" That man was Robert Hanssen. Hanssen's story starts long before that night. In 1979, he walked into an office in New York tied to Soviet intelligence. He had no plan, no contacts, just ambition and access, and he offered the Soviets something priceless, classified information from inside the FBI. For $20,000, Hanssen revealed the names of Soviet double agents secretly working with the US. Those men were executed, including a top Soviet general who had been secretly providing intelligence to Washington for years. That betrayal alone reshaped the Cold War intelligence battle. And the most shocking part? The FBI never suspected him. The Soviets never revealed their source. Hanssen realized he was effectively invisible, and that realization made him far more dangerous. On the surface, Hanssen was ordinary. He lived in the suburbs, drove an old station wagon, went to church every Sunday, and raised 6 children. Colleagues saw him as quiet, awkward, even boring. He wasn't the glamorous movie spy. But behind that bland exterior was a man running one of the most successful espionage operations in US history. Hanssen sold secrets to both the GRU and later the KGB. He used dead drops in parks, encrypted notes, and never met handlers in person. For decades he stayed hidden in plain sight. What Hanssen gave up is almost impossible to measure. He exposed US operations abroad. He revealed a multi-million-dollar surveillance tunnel dug beneath the Soviet embassy in Washington. He identified informants who were then executed. Over the years, he made about $1.4 million in cash, diamonds, and offshore accounts. But it wasn't just about money. Hanssen wasn't drowning in debt. He wasn't blackmailed. He spied because it made him feel powerful, smarter than everyone around him, especially his colleagues at the FBI. By the mid-1990s, US intelligence knew something was wrong. Operations were being compromised. Secrets were leaking. Clearly, there was a mole. But instead of Hanssen, the FBI zeroed in on someone else, a CIA officer named Brian Kelly. They bugged his phones, tailed him constantly, even interrogated him. Meanwhile, Hanssen walked the halls of FBI headquarters untouched, sometimes even mocking the Bureau's security in encrypted notes to his Russian handlers. He was playing the FBI's own counterintelligence game against them, and winning. No spy can stay perfect forever. After 20 years of deception, Hanssen slipped. In 2000, the FBI bought a file from a Russian informant for $7 million. Inside was a recording of the mole's voice, and something else, a plastic trash bag the spy had once used for a dead drop. On that bag was a partial fingerprint. It matched Robert Hanssen. For the first time, the FBI had a real lead, but catching him required proof, undeniable, in-the-act proof. The FBI carefully boxed Hanssen in. They reassigned him to a meaningless job at headquarters, stripped of real access, while quietly monitoring his every move. Agents followed him everywhere, even planted cameras in his office. Still, Hanssen didn't slip up until February 2001. He warned his Russian handlers that he suspected the FBI was closing in, but instead of vanishing, he prepared one final drop. That's when the FBI pounced, catching him red-handed at Foxstone Park, the same place he had operated for years. After his arrest, Hanssen didn't deny anything. He knew the evidence was overwhelming. He eventually pleaded guilty to 15 counts of espionage, avoiding the death penalty but sentenced to life in prison without parole. For the next 2 decades, Hanssen lived in near-total isolation, 23 hours a day alone in a cell. The man who once moved undetected through the halls of power now had nowhere left to hide. In June 2023, Robert Hanssen was found dead in his prison cell. He was 79 years old. Hanssen's betrayal still casts a shadow over US intelligence. Some of the secrets he sold remain classified even today. His case forced the FBI to overhaul its counterintelligence practices, and yet the central question remains, why? Why would a man with a stable career, a family, and access to the nation's deepest secrets betray it all? Maybe the answer lies in the words he spoke when agents finally caught him. "What took you so long?"